is open all the time. All we ask you folks, if you do have any rubbish that you don't want, a Victoria Tower. Now the clock tower up here on our right, we've just spent £85 million making sure it works and giving it a nice across the river here. Now we're nearly at low water. The tide will start to come in, and when it comes in today, we can't get under that bridge. So if you look around you, look on the river wall, see the green moss? That's how high the tide comes up twice a day. On average, 7 metres. So that's nearly 25 feet. The lovely building in front of you, known as the County Hall, we used to run Greater London from here until Margaret Thatcher had a much better idea. So she turned it into 2 large hotels, apartments, and a place where Boris used to be, the Shrek's Adventureland. But look over there now, you can see how busy. They're all queuing up to go into the London Aquarium. Now the London Eye, well tonight, this is the biggest rip-off in London. This is when we look into the coast where the men gave their lives. For some reason, we point the bum of the eagle towards the Ministry of Defence. The grey ship on your left, this is the busiest floating pub in London. On a good busy day, they take more money in a day than most pubs in London now take in a week. You can see that. See the big bottle of gin on the top there? Look. Now the court. In there are luxury apartments, a hotel, and exclusive gentlemen's clubs. Where you'll find this gentleman at the end above us. And then we got the Golden Jubilee walkways, these little footbridges. Now it's always nice to wave at people above you on a bridge, because all the time they're waving back, they're not going to throw their old McDonald's at you as we go underneath. Now please don't worry if they don't wave back, it means they come from London. Now we're going to go through the bridge, got to stop over on the left, but look ahead of us on the left, look along the wall, you'll see a stone column, and that's Cleopatra's Needle. It's the oldest landmark on the river, it's 3,500 years old now. The building behind it, with the largest clock face in London, that's the headquarters of Shell Petroleum. But to the right of Shell, the building with the green roof, the famous Savoy Hotel. Now if you want to stay there tonight, Valentine's night, you're 2 days. All the rooms are booked out. Then pop in the Savoy for a drink, have a celebration in the American bar. A gin and tonic is only £27. You get it in a lovely crystal glass, which you can take. But don't tell them you're going to take it. They're getting very...
Why is it making this sound?
Set house, and until 1976, that's where we kept the records of births, deaths and marriages in England and Wales. Now it's all part of King's College, the London University. Here to our right, the first building looks like a castle. Well, that is the National Theatre. It was founded by the late Lord Olivier. But also to the right we have this white tower block. Now 4 years ago that was the headquarters for the television centre on the South Bank, ITV. Now they moved out so the building could be refurbished. Well, they're not coming back. It's now been sold to a Chinese property developer who's turning it into a 5-star luxury hotel with private apartments at the top. So just like most of London. Over here on the left, the White Ship, the Wellington, the Livery Hall of Master Mariners. Prince Philip the Duke of Edinburgh. He was the life president. Now it's Charles. But look behind the ship on the wall, you'll see an archway. The keystone is old Father Thames looking at his river. But look just past there, level with the stern of the ship, and on the wall you'll see silver dragons, one each side of the road, and they're guarding the City of London. So you're about to enter what we call the Square Mile, the ancient city. Through the trees on the left is one of the oldest parts of London. It's called the Inner and the Middle Temple. If you've ever seen the original film The Da Vinci Code, those little red buildings at the back, that was the Middle Temple, the home of the Knights Templar. Here to our right, the red building, well, you can see on the top now, the oldest advertisement in London, OXO. Does anyone remember what an OXO cube is? You can't get it in a takeaway. The top of the building is a restaurant, the middle is apartments, and some very nice shops at the bottom. The building belongs to the new Prince of Wales. Next door is the headquarters of Sea Containers. The top of the building is their new hotel, and the bottom is their office. But the last building there, the very tall one, well, that's Blackfriars Residential Tower. And if you like to live there, apartments start at £1.5 million. You could have bought the penthouse for 32 million, but they sold it to a nice Russian gentleman who unfortunately can't live here at the moment. So he sold his football club and then he ran off with all the money. Over here on the left, behind this building site, the white building with a green roof, that's the old City of London School, which is now headquarters of JP Morgan. The last building on the left, headquarters of a company called Unilever, but only till the end of the year because they're moving out. Now this is Blackfriars Bridge under major restoration now. Look to the left, that's what it's going to look like when it's all finished. That one archway took over a year to clean up.
Sure.
Now the second bridge, that's the little red columns each side of us. This is the remains of the first railway bridge designed by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. The last bridge, the grey one, well, this was rebuilt 10 years ago. They turned a railway bridge into a railway station. It's the only station ever built over a river, and it's the only one in the country that has 1,200 solar panels on the roof, creating enough electricity to run the station. But over there on the right, this is still the South Bank Walk. The building with a tall chimney, that is Tate Modern. It's a wonderful place to go if you understand modern art. Now, if you don't understand modern art, don't worry, because 99% of us haven't got a clue. But I can recommend the pub on the right there. That opens 12 hours a day. Now, over here on the left is a real work of art. It's called St Paul's Cathedral. It took 35 years to complete. You see the people on top of the dome? Well, to reach that viewing gallery, you have to climb 520 stone steps. To make sure it hurts, you now have to pay £20 each for the privilege. The red building on the left is the City School, where Daniel Radcliffe started his education, or as most of the kids know, Harry Potter. So this is Millennium Footbridge. When it opened in the morning, we had television companies from around the world. All those VIPs turn up for a free day, and they told us how lucky we were to have a new bridge. But they weren't here 3 hours later when we had to close it. It was swaying so violently, it was shut down for 6 months. It got the new name, the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge. Now on the right hand side there, look between the trees and the banners, That's William Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, the only timber-framed, thatch roof building in London since the Great Fire. Now look behind the pier over there. You can see right in the middle the iron gates. Now each lump of metal on the gate is a character from a Shakespearean play. Now this area, Bankside, it was just a little riverside village, but we had 3 theatres here. There were no theatres allowed in the city. They was all built over on the right. But also on the right, we had bear baiting, cockfighting, circuses, taverns, and even houses of horizontal pleasure. If you look each side of us, you see all the people on the foreshore. The reason they're here, because it's low water. And even today, they're still finding coins and relics. Last week, someone found a coin on the left-hand side there, which dates back to 1480. Now this is called Southwark Bridge. It's known as the least used bridge in London. That's because most people can't find it. When we go through the bridge, look over on the left there on the ground, see that big old barge? Now if you're in London long enough, you'll always hear about pollution and congestion. Well, if you count the containers on that top of the barge, and then you double it up, because there's a stack underneath. Now one tug can tow 4 barges. So you could have 1 diesel engine going through London, or 100 lorries sitting in a traffic jam instead. Apparently, no one's told the mayor there is a river in London. Now to our right, where all the people are, this is a lovely old pub, the Old Anchor Tavern. Dates back to 1580. This is where Samuel Pepys, the London diarist, stayed when he described the Great Fire of London. It's a lovely pub to visit, but as you can see, it does get extremely busy. So this is Cannon Street Railway Bridge, Cannon Street Station to your left. But when we go through the bridge, look over on the right, you'll see the people, and you'll see a white sign on the wall, and there's a replica ship there. It's called the Golden Hind. Now that little replica has already been round the world twice. It's a really nice place to take the kids, because when they go on board, they'll get a live history of Sir Francis Drake. You can even hire it for children's birthday parties. They say that all the masts will be ready in time for Easter. But of course London is changing. Look up on the right, look, the tallest building in Great Britain, the Shard. And then over here on the left, we've got the Monuments to Money. The building with the curved white top, that's the walkie-talkie. Behind it is the scalpel, the gherkin and the cheese grater. As I said earlier folks, 20 years ago, none of these tower blocks existed. But this is London Bridge. Now we've had 4 bridges here. The first one fell down. The second one was burnt down. And the last one, we sold it as a jigsaw puzzle. Most of it ended up in Lake Havasu City in Arizona. And this new London Bridge, it opened in 1973. As we go through the bridge, look along the right hand bank, all the way down as far as the next bridge. This entire section of London now belongs to the Qatari royal family. Now no one had ever heard of them until the World Cup football, but they've been buying up large bits of London for years, and they even own Euro Disney as well. Now above us on the left is the walkie-talkie. Always busy, because the viewing gallery up there is free. If you go up the Shard, they'll hit you with a £30 charge each. So the money you save when you book up, they'll give you a time slot. You can go up the top there, but if you want to cheat and go straight up there, just tell them you're going to the restaurants on the top floor. You can have a nice cocktail up there with the money you save. Now the yellow brick building on the left, you can see the Goldfish weather vane. That was the oldest fish market in England, Billingsgate.
This one. Here. That one.
Now the building behind the trees on your left, this is the Customs House, the main customs office of this country. Now over here on the right, between the black umbrellas, there's an archway, and this is Hayes Gallery. If you like shopping, eating and drinking, it's a lovely place to go. Now I came from that part of London. I didn't go back there till about last year, but it's amazing how many bars and restaurants now have been built over there under London Bridge Station. Now the warship on the right, the Belfast, has been here just over 50 years. She was on the convoys to Russia,
Ship.
the Normandy landings and in the Korean War. Now there are 9 decks open, so from the engine room to the radar scanner on top. She was one of the first British ships equipped with radar, helping her to sight and sink the German battleship Scharnhorst, which was twice her size, and that was Christmas Day 1941. As you can see, very popular during the half term. You can lose the kids on there for hours. Now look on the Greenwich market with all the bars and the restaurants. But look ahead of us, past the pier, the magnificent white buildings. Now they were naval colleges, but that was 300 years ago. That is now the University of Greenwich. Now if you walk inland behind those buildings, about a 10-minute walk, you'll find the Maritime Museum and the Queen's House. So as you see, we're about to go alongside the pier. Now before you all jump out your seats, have a good look around you. Make sure that when you leave us, you've got all of your personal belongings. Especially people downstairs. People have a habit at the moment of leaving the mobile phones and tablets on the seat next to them. Well, we got new ones for Christmas, so please take your old ones with you.